I'm Sarinda Jones, and we will be making scarves today using acid dyes and silk scarves and dyeing them. I have been a creative my entire life. My mom was a watercolorist, and so I kind of started early, and this process kind of reminds me of that inky watercolor type of look. So let's go over the supplies really quick so you know what it is that we're working with. Obviously we need silk scarves. Gloves is always a good thing to have. The dye will stain your hands and clothing, so maybe an apron would be good. And then we have the alcohol. So I just use pretty much whatever you can find. 70% is pretty good. And this is the Jacquard red label, and it's made for silk dyeing. One of these bottles would last you could do a huge summer party with a bunch of your friends with one of those bottles. You can also use various brushes. I won't be using them today. I'll just be using the dye in a squirt bottle. So you mix the dye 50-50 with the actual dye and the alcohol. So it's a 50-50 mix. And then various stuff that you can buy at any local store, a fork, I have tongue depressors, little clips of any kind, Ziploc bags, and then rubber bands, and you'll need also some paper towels. And if you want to make your own colors, it's really fun to mix everything, but for the demo that we're doing today, everything's straight from the Jacquard bottle. So if you're want to have fun with mixing the dyes, you can totally do that. Just make sure that you get a mason jar. So we are going to be working on the spiral scarf, and this is done with the fork that I was telling you about earlier. So this scarf was dyed not that long, so the ones that we're going to be dyeing will have more vibrant, intense colors, and I'll get to show you that as well. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is pull out your scarf, and then we are going to soak it in a water bath that has the alcohol in it. Not too much, I mean, maybe a gallon of water to like a bottle of the alcohol. And so since we're using an acid dye, you need the alcohol in there to help saturate the dye into the fabric. So I tend to fold my scarves how I want to wear them. I'm going to put the spiral at the ends so you can see rather than back behind the neck. So pay attention to that. But I'm just going to fold this in half, and it's already folded, and we're just going to do a little soak and then a ring. And that's pretty much it. It's as simple as that. And then next we're going to fold the scarf. So I unsquish it. I'm going to fold it in half. And depending on how you want to do this, just play and be creative. So that's folded in half twice, okay? Then you take your fork and you're going to put the fabric between the tines, and then you're going to twist and just help that fabric kind of go together as you're doing the twist. It's kind of like a pleat and tuck, if you will. And then I'm going to just keep on twisting all the way. So if you wanted to do 2 swirls, you could do 2 swirls. Yeah, so that's that, and you pull your fork out. So it looks like a cinnamon roll, basically. And then you take the rubber bands, and I usually do 2. So I do one direction, and then I'll squish it and do another the other direction. Okay, so now we are ready to dye the fabric. Let me grab the tin. So what I use here is most of this stuff can be purchased at your local dollar store. So this is, I guess, a wire cookie rack. And then I guess this is a turkey cooker. So you want you want the scarf to remain above the, so it's not saturated, sitting in the dyes. So the colors of this particular scarf are poppy, magenta, brown, black, and purple. Remember that it's going to bleed together. So say you are using different colors, you're going to have different results, right? So that intersection where the two colors meet, it's going to change the color a little bit. So in the spiral, you can see all of that fabric that the dye needs to get into. So I'm going to put a fair amount of dye and flip it over and do some more. Okay, this is a really fun process. This is the magenta. I can't wait to undo them for you guys because that is the fun part. And this, when you get a little bit of dye on there like that, it doesn't bother me because the dye will just end up, it's just like a bonus area. And it covers pretty well, if you can see that. All right, so we did the purple, we did the magenta, now we're gonna do the poppy. So definitely some bright colors going on here. And if your color palette is different, feel free to do something different. So this is a lovely, lovely red. I like that one. And then we have, this one's chocolate, so brown. And I kind of like to put the darker colors just kind of throughout in different areas. And you'll see what I mean when you when we do that. Okay. And I think we're gonna do a little black. Oh, just a little bit. So, all right. Okay, that one is ready to be put in a Ziploc bag. So they will, depending on how long you let it sit, you can let it sit for an hour and get a lighter color, more pastels, or you can let it sit overnight. 24 hours, it will be done dyeing. So I'm just gonna set this one aside and we'll unravel that in a little bit. Okay, next scarf, here we go. So the next scarf, project number 2, is a flag fold. So it's this purple and black scarf. That's the only 2 colors, and you can see how when I was talking about how they bleed in together and they make kind of like ghost colors. This is going to be the next one, and let's get started. How this fold is done, I just tend to keep everything folded once. But experiment and see what happens. And for the camera, I am actually going to fold it twice, so it's folded twice. And then you're going to accordion fold back and forth. So there's one fold, and the second fold, third fold, and it's about an inch, inch and a half. If you want your pattern to be bigger, you can do bigger folds. And this is the fun part. So this is where you do the flag. So if you've ever seen a flag actually folded, it's done the same way. Just little triangles. And then just back and forth, and you can get pretty good at this and fast, but my gloves are giving me a hard time. So maybe do this without your gloves. That would be my recommendation. And then you're just folding to the very end, and then you'll have a little square, and then just fold that over. And that's your little flag sandwich, right? Then I take one rubber band and you go around the tip of one end, twist, and back over the tip of the other. So there's a little X right there, and that is your flag fold. So now we're ready to dye. In this particular one, we will be using purple and black. And again, those folds, you need to get that saturated down in there. And if you want to do 3 colors, you can totally do 3 colors. That's where all the creativity comes into play. So play with that for sure. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to do the 2 ends and then put the black down the center and see what happens. All right. And the black right down the center. And generally, black goes a long way. I think I've mixed this so it's a light black. And then make sure you get the other side. All right, now it's ready for the Ziploc bag, and it's gonna sit for 24 hours. And can't wait to show you what this looks like. Very cool. All right, on to the next one. And for the third final project, we will be doing, this is my favorite technique, that's why I saved it for last, it's the best. So this is called a scrunch, and it is really a super easy technique, but look at those patterns and marbling that you have in the fabric, it's pretty cool. Okay, let's get going on that one. Okay, so make sure that you wet your fabric in your alcohol water solution bath. And this scarf we will be doing is the scrunch. And again, remember it's my favorite one to do. I absolutely love that one. And you can do as many colors as you want. So again, I am going to keep it folded in half. And this is the technical one, right? Where you just gather it and scrunch it up. It's that easy, look at that, how cool. And that's how you get all that marbling and that yummy stuff happening. So a rubber band, and flip it over. I think that held it pretty well. Sometimes if it looks like it's not being held like on the edges, if you want to do a second one, you can. Hopefully you're going to be doing many of these. And like I was saying in the introduction, is you can have a little party with your friends because the dye goes a long way. So if you're buying a big bottle of dye, you might as well have like a tie-dye party. If you notice in this, there is, as I put purple on it, but that's okay, it's a demo. There's green in this scarf. So that is the mixture of the blue and the yellow, which makes green. So the turquoise and the yellow does that. Okay. So just add it in different areas. I'm kind of willy-nilly with this one. And then some turquoise, and you're going to get that overlap of the green, which is super cool. Can you see that green already showing up? And then a little bit of black. And the reason why I like doing the black is it just adds kind of some different hues in the work. But a little black goes a long way. Okay, we're ready. So this one's going to go in a Ziploc bag, and then it will set overnight, 24 hours. Okay, so this is the bonus project for you all. This is one of those things. So you have all this lovely dye that's just sitting in there, and why waste it? So this is another favorite. So if you don't have to do a bath in this, so I just use the dry scarf, and you're going to have a different effect with that. So you gather it up and literally just blot and twist. And look at that sea blue color. Oh my gosh. And literally you're cleaning up the bin. So then I unfold it and kind of see what we have. I mean, that is super cool. I like the little bit of different colors on the end and the smeary, splotchy look. But I think I'm going to add a little bit more of that red up in this area. So, and then scrunch it. Maybe even put some in the bin and scrunch and twist. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, so this is gonna go into a Ziploc bag. That looks like poppies to me. And then we'll rinse it out and see what happens. Okay, here's the big reveal. We are going to rinse the flag fold scarf. And so what you're gonna do is just kind of warm tap water, and you're rinsing it until the water runs clear from underneath, right? So it takes about maybe 5 minutes. And this is when you get to see all the patterns that you've created. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up to show you how cool it is. Look at that, it's so fun. Each one comes out totally different. All right, let's get on to ironing. These are the flag fold, and look at the difference in the pigmentation and the dye. Done the exact same way. Each one comes out so much different than the other. This was the one that I was wearing, so you can see just the color combinations and how they work. So pay attention to how you fold them and take notes if you want to duplicate things, if there's something that you like. We're going to iron, I think, this guy. So basically you unfold it and then lay it out. So there's an ironing board underneath here. You can see that it picks up the dye, so definitely protect your ironing board. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your sheet and place it on top and iron. But for the benefit of you guys seeing it, I'm not going to do that, but just be sure you protect your scarf so it does not burn or scorch. So make sure it moves, it's on high heat. Keep it moving because that is the deal. And what you're doing is you're setting the dye in the fabric. And it steams it. You can use a steamer. A lot of textile artists will use a steamer. I found everyone has an iron. Maybe not anymore, but generally we have an iron at the house. So, and look how cool that is right here. Isn't that beautiful? That texture. And I think this is the neck pleat section, so that's what will be up against the neck. And there's a bunch of different ways of wearing scarves and different, I don't know, applications of how to fold them and wear them. So I think there's some videos out there of showing people how to tie them differently. So check that out. Oh my gosh, it goes so quick, you guys. You could probably do like 20 scarves in a half a day. Easy. Easy, easy. Hi everyone, we're just doing a wrap up with the scarf class. I wanted to show you what the results of how long the dye sits in the fabric versus less amount of time. So you can see in this scarf, it is definitely more pastel-y in color. And then this scarf was a full 24 hours and it's much more vibrant and intense. So kind of play with that with your creations, and I just wanted to tell you that check out Craft Lake City. They're an amazing bunch of people. I really love working with them, and they have a bunch of workshops coming up. So if you liked this, definitely follow them on social media and check out what they have going on. And they have the DIY show, and I can't say enough about how great Craft Lake City is. And me, I'm Sarinda Jones. You can follow me on my social media, Sarinda Jones on Instagram, and Reflective Art Studio Sarinda Jones on Facebook. And then my website is sarindajones.com.